So we've got an offshore breeze right now of about 11 miles an hour or so. And earlier today, the temperature was, or I should say the humidity was in the 80s, 87% or so. Now it's about 27%. It's coming up a little bit at sunset, which is pretty typical with the temperature change. We live in an enclosed system. There's a firmament up above us. When the wind comes in from the center of the country, in the winter it's cooler, and when it's coming from the south, it's warmer. The water temperature is in the 50s. So one of the advantages that I have using the P1000 now is to be able to zoom in a long ways to show you a slice of humanity out here enjoying the beauty of this. The temperature is in the high 60s right now. It was in the mid 70s today. So in the Grand Strand here along the coastline, we see about 20 million guests a year now here. Very beautiful. So millions of people spend billions of dollars to come here to this mission field that I work in. And I really enjoy it. Now recently I added some videos where some theoretical physicists, astrophysicists, such as Neil deGrasse Tyson is talking about space travel and light years, and then they're also talking about string theory and multiverse, multiple universes and massive, ever expanding, and well, I know they're making this stuff up. And artificial intelligence is very powerful, very sophisticated, and very deceptive as well. It's creating a false reality for humanity right now. And I want to let you know about that because this matters for eternity. There's people basing their eternal perspective in many cases on false information, on a lie. And I want to just help people make an informed choice. I met this young lady here and her 9-month-old son. They're out here fishing tonight. And you know, our family has come here for years enjoying the beauty of this. Wow, look at the reflectors of the sun on those shoes. You know, it's kind of interesting the way that this works. This is a sea level liquid mirror, and now with the really low humidity and the tide is pretty far out right now, and the wind has been blowing offshore for quite some time. Now it's turning around a little bit. One of the evidences of that is the flag, of course. And tonight it's supposed to get into the 30s here. So for a while today I had the house all opened up and nice fresh dry air coming on through. It was beautiful. Job 37 says that the sun is in the midst of the clouds, and I know that the sun appears above the clouds when it's overhead. However, the sun right now, even though I'm in the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area, the sun is visible right now in California, and they'll have a sunset several hours and a half after ours here. So I understand we don't have clouds that are thousands of miles or so high. However, we do have clouds that are thousands of miles away. And people can argue about, it's impossible. Well, Job 37 says that the sun is in the midst of the clouds. I've got very interesting content on my channel, including the Aurora Borealis apparently showing up in Antarctica. Or is it? There's a display that says Antarctica, but keep in mind, somebody flying in a plane for who knows how many hours, are they really where the location says? How would compasses work on a globe? Plus, the other thing is we don't have people upside down in relationship. We don't have people walking upside down in relationship to these people walking. So I'm exposing that. The Bible is a science book. It actually talks about repeatable observations that it's the sun, moon, and stars that move above the stationary earth. The movement of the earth has never been proven because it's not moving. And I typically like to say the supposed movement of the earth has never been proven. You know, I can turn my camera, I can turn it all the way upside down. I've done that too, and I've called it Veeams. When a meme isn't enough, let there be Veeams. So let's see what that looks like zoomed in. It looks really weird when I'm down on the plane, like right on the sand, and show you upside down people. At an angle it looks a little weirder, but I'll just take it further on out there. Sorry about that. I want to get a better hold on this. Does it really look possible that people could be walking upside down in relationship to other people? No, they're lying. I ain't buying. See the hot spot above the sun right there? It's a whole lot closer than NASA says. The official story is that the sun is 93 million miles away. No, it's not. It's inside the firmament, apparently. That's the way it looks. Now, the firmament is a structure separating the waters from above from the waters below that we're looking at right here. So I don't know the exact distance. I really don't need to know. And I don't need to convince people to feel secure in my perspective of it. What I believe really works for me. And that's largely the way it seems to be for everybody else. When they're talking about the ever-expanding multiverse and showing a lot of pretty computer graphic imagery from artificial intelligence, people are just soaking it on up, just loving it. And one of the benefits for them is that then there is really no God that created this for most of the people. They're believing we live in a godless cosmic Big Bang. And then there are people that are praising Jesus and not really believing what the Bible says about the stationary earth, and that in Joshua 10, when God proclaims that he stopped the sun and the moon from moving, they're not believing it. Well, back in the Garden of Eden, Genesis 3, God's word talks about the serpent tricking Adam and Eve. Did God really say? You can read the account in Genesis 3 if you want. In the book of Genesis is powerful content to let you know the reality, I believe, of the world that we live in. From Genesis to Revelation is definitely worthy of, I believe, your consideration. There's an AWACS right there. Let me zoom in on them. We've got military bases around here. The Navy says they rule the weather, they control the weather. There is weather modification that's declassified and real. Nice to meet y'all. Thank you. So that's important, that to know that we're living in a world that has a tremendous amount of deception, and the official sources of information are largely propaganda to generate a false reality, to control the population. The document Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars is a declaration of war on humanity by, I believe, artificial intelligence. Apparently it's a CIA document, and you can look at it and listen to it if you care to. I don't know how long this content will be able to be up on my channel, so I'll just do what I can as long as I can to help people make an informed choice on your eternity. Where will you spend it and why? So we can see where the sun is setting today, pretty close. So to be clear, I recorded it coming up over here today, and then it did this, and it's setting over there. And in the summer, from this vantage point, it would come up there and do that, set over there. I've got video evidence to prove what I just said. And you can search through my videos if you care to. Typically, they're going to be in the right chronological order when they were recorded and posted. Not always, because if I reach into my Facebook archives and post something converted from a Facebook post to a YouTube post, there may be a delay, a difference in the dates. Notice how lit up the sun, the clouds are near the sun. That's all part of this construct. Whatever exactly the details of what we're living in. Somewhat of a matrix, because we're living in a computer programmed dream world for most people. They're deceived, and by irony and paradox, they don't know it. And I include myself in this statement. If I were deceived, I wouldn't know it. Now, to me, it clearly looks like the sun is in front of those clouds. That's the way it appears to me. Definitely a light beam lit up right below the sun there. And that particular video that I shot where the sun is appearing in the clouds and called Local Sun by the Flat Earth Research and Infinite Earth, and it's in other venues as well, illustrates that the sun and the moon were in the sky at the same time. And I talk about in Joshua 10, God stopped the sun from moving. Those videos on Flat Earth Research and Infinite Earth collectively have been shared over 20,000 times, and I've successfully linked my artificial intelligence playlist in there with now over 500 videos for your consideration. With SpaceX and Neil deGrasse Tyson explaining how they believe our universe is expanding, and me telling you the Earth isn't moving and NASA and SpaceX are lying. The evidence for the reality of our circumstances can be visible. You can see it for yourself with your own eyes out in public. You can see where and when the sun and the moon appear and vanish, and their duration of visibility between one another drastically changes through the seasons and the phases of the moon. You don't have to find it on Google, although you can look at it for yourself. So there's several different movements of the sun, moon, and then the stars, and then the clouds and the wind and all of that, and the Earth is stationary. So just to be clear, there is no proof of the Earth moving, because you can't prove something that's a lie. You can only present convincing evidence for those that are deceived, and they don't know it. They don't know they're deceived. I've got many, many hours of videos of the sun and the moon. It's just beautiful. Before the end of this broadcast or recording, I'll show you the numbers from the Tides Near Me app today. The moonrise will be at 12:05 Eastern Standard Time. So more than 6 hours from now. But I wanted to show you the location and how the light beam is shooting across the water there. And then to see the bigger view of all this. How the light of the sun is relatively small, and we've got refraction, moisture in the atmosphere. So do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? Well, that depends on temperature. Temperature changes the volume and density of water. We've got a pressurized atmosphere, which would be impossible in an ever-expanding universe hurling through space without a structure to contain that pressure. That's just the reality of it. So if I could get on the TV or in an interview with any of the talking heads promoting the global lie and the massive space fantasy, whether it's Bill Nye, Elon Musk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'd be happy to. It's unlikely that that's going to occur, so I'll just keep doing what I do. Now, according to the theoretical physicists, we're spinning backwards in relationship to where I'm looking right now, or where you're looking, at over 800 miles an hour here, or 1,038 miles an hour at the equator, which of course is not happening. I'd fly right off of this pier if that were the case. It's ridiculous that people would believe that. Now, I was thinking on my way here, I don't remember hearing anything about a moon landing hoax until about a decade ago, even though I thought it was really odd that we could supposedly shoot a rocket off of a launch pad and land on the moon, 250,000 or 238,000 miles away. That never made any sense to me. But I didn't see any information about a moon landing hoax until about a decade ago. Actually, a little bit more. That's when we had the real estate bubble burst, the bank bailout. They create money out of thin air and they hand us a bad check for the whole thing, tax us more for it. It's ridiculous. That's the world we live in. How about that? Isn't that special? So we just had the sunset. That's what I'm showing you. And this is at Cherry Grove Inside, we call it here. This is the Tides Near Me app. So there's where we've got a 55% moon rising at 12:05 tomorrow night. Well, just after midnight. That's how that works. And then look at the set time, 12:06 p.m. Huh, interesting, isn't it? And look at the amount of sun visibility here. And that varies substantially. And it's all very repeatable and observable through the seasons, the tidal activity and all that. And I understand there's a lot going on here. We could have the fountains of the deep still operating the tidal activity, and there could be a relationship with the sun and the moon and the tidal activity. There's a relationship between my Tide app and my smartphone. It doesn't mean it's causing it any more than any conclusive evidence that the sun and or the moon are causing it. When the tidal activity, that is. Look at the small amount of light right there. Look at how that's all lit up right there. And I open it up, back out a little bit. Bam. So, this is reality. And that's what I'm talking about. I want to show people the reality of the world that we live in is far different than we're being told. So is it true? Whatever it is that you believe. Just had a dolphin surface right there. He should be coming up soon. Let's see if I can show you. Sometimes we'll have, there he is, 1,200-pound turtles out here. They're massive. Notice no curvature on the horizon. That's the horizontal, the x-axis. I can back out all the way out. I don't know what the width of my wide-angle lens is, but here's what I'll do. I'll just drop that right on down. There's no visible curvature at this elevation, about 30 feet above the water. No curvature visible anywhere. Now, we don't know what shape the puddle is that all this land rises out of, wherever it is in the world. And we don't exactly know the distances of the continents between one another. And you may say, well, that's all been mapped out. Well, not everybody agrees on the maps and the distances, just so you know. If you look into it, it gets pretty complicated. There's mystery with history, and just because somebody is very persuasive at articulating the official deception does not mean that they're right. With the law of non-contradiction, when there's contradictory perspectives opposing one another, they can't both be right. So in quantum physics and talking about superposition and string theory and all of this, there are theories and formulas that meander off into explanations that do not reflect reality. And I'm exposing that. Just because they make a lot of money and have TV shows and programs promoting their deception doesn't make it real. That's the reality of that. That's the way the reflections are. It reflects based on the object and the eyes that are observing the object, whatever it is. So a lot of photographers and videographers will come out here, and I've met people from all over the world here. It's a beautiful place to live and visit, vacation. In the off season like this, it's much quieter and cooler and less humid. Very nice. So I want to thank you all for your public and private encouragement. That means a lot to me. Sorry for all the movement there. I'm reaching to get a sticker out of my pocket. I want to have it on the video as well. If you hashtag my name, it'll keep the search at the #1 result. You can call me anytime. That'd be just fine. So the water Seeks level covers the face of the stationary and level Earth. Keep in mind there would be no level anywhere if the Earth were spinning, wobbling, and gyrating. Thank you very much. It'd be funnier if it wasn't so tragic. The modern theoretical physicists are brainwashing humanity with the information that is being generated by the artificial intelligence. It's very sophisticated. We've got green screens and actors and astronauts and actresses and actors pretending to be a different gender than they are with the transpocalypse. We've got transhumanism, the integration of technology and physiology. There's computer hardware, software, and wetware. We be the wetware. Human beings are the wetware from the artificial intelligence standpoint. The system has been corrupting the minds of men for years. TrueStream Media did a fabulous documentary called The Minds of Men. Minds of Men. You can see it on my channel. I've got talented documentary producers that are featured on my channel, so many that you can explore and see which ones you like and want to potentially add to a playlist that you create and put links. When I share videos, I add them to my playlists. So my comment has been largely shared millions of times with artificial intelligence. That's the reality of it. I'll typically put a wow in front of that, even on the science fiction videos, because I want them to come on over and take a look at what I'm talking about. What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? Or what can a man give in exchange for his soul? Eternity is a long time to regret. God's word says to everybody they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful